Naam.
Hadith 8 from Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when one of you strikes, then avoid the face. Sunan Abu Dawud.
We mentioned that before. It was in the previous hadith. Naam.
Hadith 9. Abdullah said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, abusing a Muslim is evil and fighting him is disbelief. Sahih al-Bukhari.
This hadith, what does it mention? It mentions sibabul muslimi, to insult a Muslim. A man, this is talking about all the Muslims. Imagine your wife, the closest person to you. Your wife is to you what? What is she? Allah referred to her as your garment. What did He say? Nisa'ukum, what's the ayah? Hunna libasul lakum wa antum libasul lahunna. They are clothing to you and you are clothing to them. What does the clothing do for you, brothers and sisters? It covers your aura. Your job is to cover your wife's aura, not to expose it. By insulting her, you're bringing her aura. Don't insult her. Are you with me, brothers? لذلك, one of the things that can be one of the greatest damages that sometimes can be even worse than a physical abuse. I'm not belittling a physical abuse, is great, but it's the mental abuse. When you make your spouse seem worthless in life. You say, you, akada. You talk to them like that, degrading. This can have a mental effect on your spouse. And guess wallahi, who's the first person who's gonna suffer from this? You know who's gonna suffer from it? Your children. Because she doesn't have the heart anymore to raise children like that. You haven't given her you haven't empowered her to believe that she can do it. So your children are gonna have a half-baked raising. Are you with me, brothers? But if you encourage her and you make her believe that, wow. وَلِذَلِكَ, brothers, pay attention to this. The Prophet allowed lying, lying is known intellectually and rationally. It's known that it's haram. But our religion allowed for you to lie to your wife to make her feel good. Sah? Isn't that the case? She brings you food and you say to her, I have never eaten a food like this. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And you probably don't even like it. But shar'an, Allah permitted it for you to say that to her. And what's the reason behind it? Just to make her feel good. Just to make her feel like it's a problem because she might do the same one tomorrow and the day after, right? But it's to make her feel what? هَذَا هُوَ اللَّهِ. It's the reality. So don't insult your spouse or don't insult a Muslim in general. وَقِتَالُهُ كُفْرٌ, and killing a Muslim is disbelief. But the disbelief in this hadith is what? Minor disbelief. It is not the major disbelief. Another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which is what? Al-Muslimu man salima al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi. What is the characteristic of a Muslim? That the people find safety from your tongue and from your what? From your hand. You're a person, your tongue is protected from your family. And the way you speak to them. لذلك, they say that a woman, if she receives 3 things in a marriage, she will stay in that marriage forever. Brothers, this is it. Khalas, this is the khulasa. It's easy theoretically, but it's hard practically. These are 3 A's. 3 A's. 3A. They start with A. Brothers, why are you guys not writing? Alright, brothers, why? You guys need this. The first one is appreciation. The woman wants to be appreciated. The second one is attention. That means you have to put your phone down. That means you have to put your phone down. Attention. And the third one is affection. Affection. Those are the 3 A's. If you come with these 3 A's, your marriage will be لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. What are the 3 again? Brothers, repeat it. I have to make sure you guys know it. Hayat. What's the first one? It's not abuse. It's appreciation. Hayat, appreciation. What's the second? Attention. The third one is affection. Those are the three components of a marriage. If the man appreciate what she does, حتى وإن كان قليلا, he appreciates it. He says, Subhanallah, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have had this. بعد الله عز وجل, after Allah. Subhanallah, this is it. This is it. We have glory in this house. You say appreciation. You remind her every now and then, these children that you're raising for me, Allahu Akbar. I can't do this. If you left these children with me, you mention that. That will encourage her. She'll do better tomorrow and more and more. The third one is attention. You sit down and you give time. You put everything else aside. You put away your books that you want to read. And you show attention. You listen. Even if she told you this 10 times before, make it look like it's the first time you heard it. Wow, really? You have to pretend. Subhanallah. So how does it end? You already know how it ends. But you have to pretend like it's the first time you heard it. And the last one is what? To be a very affectionate person. To be a what? A person who has affectionate. Those three are the components of a marriage. Now, any marriage that you look at, any woman that complains about her spouse or marriage or sends a long email, if she just summarized it and said to me in the email, he's lacking this A, it'll be so easy for me. Are you with me, brothers? It's one of those three. And a lot of the time, brothers, this is an inside secret. A lot of the times when your wife is kicking off a fuss, and you're thinking, whoa, we were on good terms yesterday, what happened? She just kicks off a fuss. But subhanAllah, just a minute ago, an hour ago, we were on good terms. What happened? I don't understand. What it really is, she's trying to say to you is, you haven't given me attention. That's the underline. This is her way. She's realized the way to get attention from you is what? To kick off a fuss. That's the time you put your phone down, you start arguing. She's like, alhamdulillah, at least he puts his phone down. And that's the only way she's realized to get attention from you. Does that make sense? So waqi'. If you ponder and you analyze, you realize she just doesn't want to say it to you. She wants you to understand. Sahih? And sometimes it may even reach a point where she says, you know what, I don't want to be in this marriage. And she really wants to. But she said, I don't want to be in this marriage. I want to leave. You know what? I want to go back to my parents' house. The reason why she's saying all of that, she just wants you to say, again, it comes to the attention. If you say, okay, you know what, go back to your parents' house, that's it. Subhanallah. She just wants you to say what? No, I'm never going to do that. Subhanallah. No. It goes back to the concept of attention. Naam.
Hadith 10. From Abdullah ibn Zama' from the Prophet ﷺ that he said, none of you should strike his wife, the striking of a slave, and then have sexual intercourse with her in the last part of the day. Sahih Bukhari. This
hadith goes back to reality, right? Which is, a man would whip his wife and beat her black and blue. And then guess what he does? He wants to have intimate relationship with her later. This is what the hadith says. لا يجلد أحدكم امرأته جلد العبد ثم يجامعها في آخر اليوم. And then after that he wants to be all intimate and everything with it, right? This hadith shows us something very powerful, which is that intimacy, it doesn't stand by itself. This is a fiqh you have to understand. It doesn't stand. Women are not physical. They are more emotional. Underline this point. They have to emotionally connect with you prior to the what? So in other words, when you beat her up, you emotionally disconnected her, and then you want to go physical with her, intimacy. Doesn't work. Does that make sense? This hadith is ajib, right? It's very powerful. Which is that, لا يجلد أحدكم امرأته جلد العبد. A man beats his wife, physically or mentally. Emotionally, he destroys her. And then he wants to be intimate with her later. That doesn't work for a woman. What does she need? She wants what? She wants to be emotionally connected with you. Are we all together? She wants to emotionally be connected with you. Naam.
Hadith 11. From Qurab, the freed slave of Ibn Abbas, that Mayuma bint al-Harith told him that she manumitted a slave girl without taking the permission of the Prophet. On the day when it was her turn to be with the Prophet, she said, do you know, O Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that I have manumitted my slave girl. He said, have you really? She replied in the affirmative. He said, you would have got more reward if you had given her to one of your maternal uncles. Sahih Bukhari.
This hadith, the benefit in this hadith is Maymuna, the Prophet's wife, she had a slave. And she freed the slave without taking permission from the Prophet. What did she do? This shows the woman, the wealth that she has. For example, if you married a businesswoman, okay, she's got money. She doesn't have to consult you with what she does with that money. Her money. If she doesn't have money, and you give her monthly allowance, you say, look, this $200-300 every month is yours. This is the bill. This is for you, which is her rights, by the way. Shar'an. You give her this amount. She has every right what she wants to do with that money. You can't ask her, what did you do with it? Why are you not giving it to the family and whatnot? It's her rights. It's her money. It's her wealth. Are we all together, brothers? If she chooses to give it to you, take it from her. If she doesn't, and she doesn't consult you, and she doesn't talk to you about it, it's her wealth. وَلِذَلِكَ Maymuna, look what she did. She freed the slave and she told the Prophet after that. And then the Prophet said, oh, did you do that? As in like astonished, like, oh, we don't have that slave anymore. Not as in like, oh, you should have. Because if it was haram for her to give it out, he would have said to her, Maymuna, what did you do? You should have consulted me. Are we all together? He would have said that, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But because he agreed to it, the principle is, تأخير البيان عن وقت الحاجة. The Prophet ﷺ would never delay explaining something when there was a need for it. The fact that he was silent about it, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it's an indication to show what? That it's permissible for her to do that with her wealth. And she can give it to who she desires and who she wishes. Naam. But remember, the best charity is to give it to your close relatives. Like the Prophet ﷺ kind of advised her, he said, but if you freed the slave, it would have been better if you gave it to your what? If you gave it to your uncle, or your maternal, whatever. You gave it to your family relatives. Because that would be the reward of a relative and the sadaqah as well. So he just advised her, why didn't you do the better option? But the fact that she had the rights to give it without consulting him is what we're trying to take from this hadith. Which is she can do what she wants with her money. What can she do? She can do what she desires with her money. Now, and this issue brings me to an issue of dowry. One of the wealth that the woman has, and it's her rights, is what? A dowry that a man has to give to her. This was the money he agreed with when he was getting married to her. So some men, what they do is when they get married to the woman, and she says, you know what, I want my dowry money. He's like, you want dowry from me? Fear Allah. You're the mother of my children. SubhanAllah. Look what we went through all of it. And she feels like, okay. She can't bring it up. If she brings it up, he's like, you're gold digging. You're trying to use me. Look at all the things I'm doing for you. He blackmails her. Huh? This is not right. This is her money. She demands for it, you have to give it to her straight away. The fact that she's allowed you to have children with her and she's delayed it for you, it's debt on your neck. What is it? It's a debt on your neck. When she gets that money, she can do what she wants with it. It's her wealth. It's her money. She can do with what she wants with it. And she can demand that money whenever she wants. She can what? She can demand that money whenever she wants. And as a husband, you have to give it to her as soon as she asks for it. It's her rights. I hope I don't put brothers in trouble, inshallah ta'ala. Huh? That money goes to, it's inheritance now. She dies, and you didn't give that money. Remember, if she leaves money behind, what happens to her money? It's inherited, right? That money goes to inheritance. Now.
Hadith 12. From Aisha, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent for his wives during his illness. When they gathered together, he said, I am unable to visit all of you. If you think to permit me to stay with Aisha, you may do so. So they permitted him. Sunan Abu Dawud.
This was the issue that happened to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is the Prophet became excessively sick, as you all know. This was when he was dying. And he reached a point where he was being dragged to one house to the other. His legs were dragging. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So he said to all of his wives, and this is another issue, which is he took permission from them. What did he do? He took permission from his wives. What was the permission that he took from them? It's their right to get him every night. That's their haqq, isn't it? He can't just say to them, fear Allah, I'm sick, what are you doing? No, I'm going to stay in this house. He didn't say that. It's her right. So this hadith shows us the woman and the wife that you're married to, if there is her rights that you want to somehow go against, you have to take her permission. Say, look, I can't do this. Do you give me a leadway on this? If she says, no, I don't give you no leadway. Remember, some people get angry when this, and I've seen this very common. Somebody would ask a person for a favor, and that person would say, I can't do it for you. And then you get angry. You know what you've just done? You strip this person from the right to say no. I have the rights to say no as much as I've got the rights to say yes. Are we all together? So if she chooses to say no, she has that right. That's an option. And you need to be open for a yes or a no. It's her rights. Are we all together? So she says no, no problem. She says yes, it's a good thing for you. But it's her right. So the Messenger ﷺ, illness became very excessive. So he consulted all of his wives. He said, listen, I cannot do it. Can't be going to everyone. Can I just stay with Aisha? And they all permitted it for him. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What did they do? They permitted it for him. They gave him that. If one of them said, no, I still want my night, would he have had to come? He would have had to come. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Naam.
Hadith 13. From Umar bin al-Khattab that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbade practicing coitus interruptus with a free woman except with her consent. Sunan ibn Majah.
This hadith shows coitus interruption means that the man, he protects himself from having children with his wife. Before the man could reach that point of the fluid, he brings it out. In other words, it's a form of contraception. He doesn't want to have children. The man cannot do that without the wife's consent. It's her right. It's her haqq. She wants to have children with you. She has the right to say, listen, what are you doing? So this hadith says, Naha Rasulullah, the Prophet prohibited for a man to practice this without the wife's consent. She wants a child and you're like, no, I don't want to have it with you now and blah, blah, blah. You have no rights. She has haqq in this. This is her. She can say, look, no, I want to have children now. You're not allowed to do it when she doesn't want it. So this hadith shows you have to seek her permission. And you're not allowed to practice it because you want it. Are we all together, brothers? She wants to have children with you. You have to agree to that. Are you with me, brothers? You have to what? You have to agree to it. Meaning to take any contraception, any form of contraception. Some contraception can be she takes pills or you take her to take a chip and etc. There are types of... If she says, I don't want this, you cannot force her. She wants to have children every single year. She wants to have children. And she's happy to do that. You can't stop her from it. You cannot stop her from it. Naam.
Hadith 14. From Aisha radiallahu anha who said, I saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam screening me with his upper garment while I was looking at the Ethiopians who were playing in the courtyard of the mosque. I continued watching till I was satisfied. So you may deduce from this event how a little girl who has not reached the age of puberty, who is eager to enjoy amusement, should be treated in this respect. Sahih Bukhari.
This hadith shows us Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. She says, there were a group of Abyssinians who were playing inside the masjid. Aisha wanted to watch it. She wanted to enjoy the entertainment and what was taking place and the event that was happening. So what did she do? The Prophet ﷺ, he stood and allowed her to watch it over his shoulder. And this is tiring for the Prophet ﷺ. But because he saw that she really wanted to. Are you with me? And she wanted to enjoy it, he let her. The scholars, they took from this that the time that you give to your wife, what did we mention? The 3 A's. What was one of the A's? Attention, right? That attention isn't, hey, say what you want to say. Have you finished? Are you sure? Or can I go back to my reading? Okay. Or can I go back to what I was doing? It isn't that. That time, that attention that you're giving her, you revive it with something that she enjoys. Huh? This is a hadith of Aisha. That you do it with something that she enjoys. Something she likes. Something she finds very what? Something she finds appealing to her. This is what this hadith shows. So the Prophet ﷺ did it for her. She was the one who was enjoying it. She was the one who liked it. And this shows us another thing, which is marriage is not always about what you want. It's also given into what the other person wants. Sometimes you let them get their way. And that's very important. That's one of the noble characteristics of a man. Is that it's not always about him. What does he do? He knows that today, you know what? This was all for you. It wasn't for me. And it was all for you, right? That person does it. Naam.
Hadith 15 from Aisha radiallahu anha, who said, never did I feel jealous of any wife amongst the wives of Allah's Apostle sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as I feel in case of Khadija, for he mentioned her a lot and I had never seen her. Sahih Muslim.
This hadith shows expressing your love for your wife. This is the fiqh I wanted to take from this hadith, which is Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she said, مَا غِرْتُ لِلنَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم. I never became jealous from the Prophet's wives. I never. The way I became jealous from Khadija. Khadija's dead. She's long gone. Aisha never even saw Khadija. They never even met in their lives. And she's saying, I'm jealous of a woman that was what? That the Prophet used to speak about. The Prophet used to speak about Khadija excessively. The fiqh I want to take from this is that you show love to your wife. She knows that you love her. Some men, their characteristics is they just don't have I just don't want to tell her, man. I just don't feel I want to tell her. But he tells everybody else. So she's hearing it from his family and his cousins, and she's hearing it from other people. Like, really, he loves me. She doesn't know. Like, wallah, he said that about me. He really loves me. But when it comes to her, he's staunch and he's hard, right? There's a lot of people like that. Now the man shows it to his wife that he what? That he loves her. وَلِذَلِكَ the love that the Prophet had for Khadija, and this is one example of it. That Khadija, when she died, the friends of Khadija, he used to honor them. He used to take off his upper garment and he'd put it on the floor for them and he'd say, sit on it. Nabiullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Are you with me, brothers? All of this is because of Khadija, honoring Khadija. Her friends, Khadija's friends. Are you with me, brothers? Sometimes the Prophet would sit and he would just remember Khadija. He would what? He would remember Khadija. وَلِذَلِكَ some of the scholars, they said, who did the Prophet love more? Aisha or? Who did he love more? Khadija or Aisha? Yeah. Ibn al-Qayyim spoke about this in length. The best answer is that he loved them both. The best answer is he loved them both. Radiyallahu ta'ala anha. Like in what shows you, wallahi, the power of Khadija, radiyallahu ta'ala anha, is she was somebody very unique. Wallahi, I was reading the story of Balqis. Have you guys heard of the story of Balqis in Surah An-Naml? Sulaiman, right? I took some benefits from this surah. I was trying to extract some benefits from Surah An-Naml. Balqis was a woman who governed over men. Are you with me, brothers? She was a woman and she had leadership over what? Balqis was a smart, clever, aqila, dhakiya, very smart woman. Excessively smart woman. And we can see that even in the Quran. Nabiullah Sulaiman, when Hudhud came back, Hudhud informed Sulaiman that Hudhud went to a place where there was a kingdom and there's a woman who's running them and whatnot. So Sulaiman said, okay, we'll see this situation. So he wrote a letter and he gave the letter to Hudhud. And the letter was sent to Balqis. The letter said, إِنَّهُ مِن سُلَيْمَانَ وَإِنَّهُ بِسْمِ اللَّهِ الرَّحْمَنِ الرَّحِيمِ. That's the top heading. From Sulaiman, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The message is this, أَلَّا تَعْلُوا عَلَيْهِ وَأْتُونِي مُسْلِمِينَ. Don't become stubborn and hard-headed and come to me as a Muslim. Khalas. Finished. That's all Sulaiman said. Balqis, when she read the letter, this is what really touched me by her. Look how unique this woman was. There's something else about her. She looked at it, she read it, she put it down. She called into a meeting. She called her generals. She called her army. She called the members of parliament. She called everyone. And she sat them down. And she said, this letter came to me. What do you guys think we should do? Look at the response the men gave. And look at the response Balqis gave. This is unique. This is something that you really... She said, what do you guys think we should do? They said to her, Balqis, they said, نحن أولو قوة وأولو بأس شديد والأمر إليك فانظري ماذا تأمرين. We are strong. We're powerful. We'll destroy anyone. Just command us and you'll see what we'll do. The men resorted to emotions. Balqis, she looked back at the situation and she said, إن الملوك إذا دخلوا قرية أفسدوها. When kings enter land with army, they will destroy it. وجعلوا أعزة آلهة أذلة. And they will take the leaders and the ones in charge and the ones who had high positions and they will humiliate them. You know what Allah said after that? وَكَذَلِكَ يَفْعَلُونَ. And that's exactly what they do. Allah agreed with what Balqis said. Look how unique she is. She thought. She used her brain. And what did they use? They used emotion. Then she said, I'm going to put this issue to a test. Look what she did. Wallahi, this is unique about this woman. She said, إِنِّي مُرْسِلَةٌ إِلَيْهِمْ بِهَدِيَّةٍ فَنَاظِرَةٌ بِمَا يَرْجِعُ الْمُرْسِلُ. I'm going to send to him a gift. And I want to see two things from him. I want to see if he's a man who's about this world and he wants the dunya. If he is, we will fight with him. Please underline this point. If he's a man of this dunya and he takes the gift and he accepts it, I will realize he wants the dunya. And if he has the dunya in his heart, I will fight with him because we want the dunya and he wants the dunya, we will fight. There's no problem. We're on the same level. But if he rejects this, then he is a prophet. We cannot fight with him. We should follow him. In other words, what she was saying is that the person whose heart is connected to this dunya is weak. And a person whose heart is connected to Allah and the Day of Judgment, he will get victory. She set that record. And it became what she said. When the letter came back to her, she was informed that Nabiullah Sulaiman didn't even look at the gift. He said, irji' ilayhim bihadiyatin. Go back and take this gift back to her. And don't bring it to me. What Allah has given me is better than what you're trying to bribe me with. Sulaiman didn't even say, what's in the bag? What is it you got for me? Show me, let me see. What I have is better. And if you look at that, Khadija had that characteristics. Khadija was a smart and a clever woman. What was she? She was very clever. She governed and she controlled. She had workers, she had employees. The Prophet was a what? An employee for her. He worked for her, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He employed him. And look how smart she was. When she realized, are you with me? When she realized that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's characteristics, she wanted to get married to him. She proposed to him. The scholars, they say Khadija was divorced twice before the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And some of the scholars, they took a benefit from this, which is not every single woman who is divorced more than once is necessary that she's a bad woman. Because it could be that no man has matched her level. Do you see that? Because of Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, all the men that she married, they were not her level. She couldn't stay with these type of men. Until who? Until the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam married her. Are we all together, brothers? Naam. We'll stop there, inshaAllah ta'ala. We'll pray Salatul Maghrib and then we'll come back, inshaAllah ta'ala, at 6:50. If we can preserve the time, punctuality, we can benefit a lot from the ahadith. InshaAllah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan.